Welcome, I'm Mary Stella Kelleton with another episode of Scope. The longest bridge in Papua New Guinea, the Markham Bridge in Morobe Province, is set for another upgrade by the Japan International Cooperation Agency. The president of JICA, Professor Tanaka Akihiko, visited Morobe on Wednesday, April 19, where he confirmed the assistance from the government and people of Japan.
The president of the Japan International Cooperation Agency, Professor Tanaka Akihiko, visited Morobe on Wednesday, April 19. His visit to Leh was to see the progress of the Nadzab Airport redevelopment project and unveil the renamed Nadzab Tomodachi International Airport. Tomodachi means friend in Japanese. The 750 million kina airport upgrade was made possible through a Japanese Overseas Development Concessional Loan and a PNG government budgetary allocation. Before leaving for Port Moresby, the JICA president, Professor Akihiko, his delegation, the Minister for Transport and Civil Aviation, Walter Schnobelt, PNG Power Chief Executive Officer Obed Batia, and the Department of Transport Secretary Roy Mumu went to the Markham Bridge to see how the one-lane infrastructure can be upgraded. The longest bridge in PNG, the Markham Bridge, was built in 1955 and has been upgraded throughout the years. The most recent one was in 2011 by the people of Japan. Professor Akihiko said they are happy to partner with PNG in its efforts to improve human security.
Japan, as an island nation, dependent heavily on its connection with the world. Japan needs good relations with our partners. And by contributing to the enhancement of human security through quality growth, we would like to cement the ties with our partner countries. I believe this project is an embodiment of joint work between the two peoples.
In March 2004, the piers of the Markham Bridge were damaged by the flood. According to JICA, the PNG government carried out repairs to the damaged areas. However, the foundation of Pier number 3 subsided due to scarring by floodwater, and the foundation was likely to subside again in future floods. The project of reinforcing of piers number 1 to number 4 were carried out in August 2004 to avoid the failure of the bridge. The repairs for the approach road and the bank protection were carried out by AusAid in June 2006, and the temporary bridge was removed. In April 2010, the urgent rehabilitation of Markham Bridge project started to strengthen the abutment and piers of the bridge and the approach road and carrying out bank protection works. In October 2011, the 29 million kina rehabilitated bridge was completed after 20 months. The 560-meter Markham Bridge connects Leh to the districts of Bulolo, Wawaria and Menamia, a vital link that ensures the transportation of goods and services to the rural districts. Professor Akihiko confirmed that JICA will look at upgrading this vital link.
After the break, specialist clinics fabrications at Port Moresby General Hospital progressing well, and later flag football targets Morobe and Simbu. Welcome back to Scope. Specialist clinics fabrications at the Port Moresby General Hospital are progressing well. The hospital management announced the changes within the facilities together with major sponsor of the facilities upgrade, Kumul Petroleum Holdings, to update the media on the progress of the KPHL Cardiac Center and the new cancer facility recently.
The Kumul Petroleum Holdings National Cardiac Center and the cancer construction of the cancer unit have come a long way. The heart center now has two choices for people: the original open heart or non-invasive heart surgery, and now invasive heart surgery. Dr. Connie Sobi, Director of Medical Services at the Port Moresby General Hospital, recently announced that with the support from KPHL, the recent Operation Open Heart program with visiting specialist team from Australia has been very successful, though it was a very short visit.
We had a small team of specialists from Australia who visited us and did a couple of surgeries on patients with mostly congenital heart disease. In fact, there were 2 children and 3 adult patients, so a total of 5 cases.
Dr. Sobi added that the visiting Australian specialist collaborated well with the local Operation Open Heart team to achieve a very successful result.
As you know, the Operation Open Heart went into a bit of hiatus, and that's due to COVID-19. Almost 3 years ago, we didn't have any 2019. We stopped having the short visits, but what happened over the weekend was the first in 3 years, and both the visiting team and our local team were impressed that we were able to pull this trip.
Cardiothoracic surgeon Dr. Noah Tapawa accorded the current OOH to one of senior surgeons, late Dr. Leonard Kauper, who started the process with a missionary doctor while getting support mainly from the NGO community. Looking back on the history of the OOH, Dr. Tapawa recounted that the OOH began in 1993 by senior surgeon late Dr. Kauper collaborating with the missionary surgeon from Sopas Hospital in Enga. The program was taking place in Goroka and Port Moresby until the demand was increasing. That's when it localized to Port Moresby.
So from 1993 to now, we have treated for open and closed heart operation 1,281 patients. That's a lot of patients that have received this service.
Dr. Tapawa said the program was supported mainly by NGOs, especially Operation Open Heart PNG, through fundraising drives. This year, a major fundraising was held on April 15th, where corporate houses sponsored dinner tables at the APEC House.
Kumul Petroleum came on board, and I think that was the vehicle that really pushed this program at a faster rate, I would like to say, with the support of the renovation of the facilities that we have here, our ward, the care lab, and equipment. I can tell you that this visit, these specialists, they told us that the equipment that we have are top class. Many of this equipment they don't have in the hospital. So I think we should give a big hand to Kumul.
Dr. Tapawa added that a very vital equipment doctors need to check the heart pre-operation to know exactly what they're going to fix is the transthoracic echocardiogram. They have 3.
And for the first time, we are now able to use the probe, put it into the stomach, behind the stomach, and see, after we prepare, whether it's working properly or there's still some leak that we need to go back on bypass while the patient is still in the operating theater, rather than bring the patient out and going back. So it's all one-stop shop.
Meanwhile, CEO of Port Moresby General Hospital reiterated the common killers at Port Moresby General Hospital are lifestyle diseases, with cancer leading with stroke and heart disease second, chronic kidney disease as number 3 killer.
So Port Moresby General Hospital is, as directed by the government, is working up to ensure that we provide the services to meet this demand of new emerging diseases. So today is one of those very important occasions that we come together to tell the public what the progress that we have done as far as cardiac services are concerned.
Dr. Malumi explained further that cardiac services consist of non-invasive or cardiac outpatient services, which is when doctors do the primary checks including history, ECG, echo, treadmill exercise to see whether there are any blockages in the heart. The second is invasive cardiac services, which is the cardiac cathode lab, where you put in devices into the heart to see the function of the heart. That's called invasive. The third component is the cardiac surgery to open up the heart and fix.
So through the MOU that we have signed with Kumul Petroleum Holdings, MOU that's signed on 19 August 2019, which the program began, we started accessing the funding in 2020. To date, we have used up to 17.6 million of that 50 million for the agreement over 5 years, 10 million per year for 5 years.
Dr. Malumi said through KPHL funding, Port Moresby General Hospital set up the non-invasive cardiac center and equip it with some of the latest and the most modern top-of-the-range cardiac equipment. KPHL Managing Director Wapu Song explained that sourcing funding from KPHL was through the request of Prime Minister James Marape in 2019 when he asked him to work on a project with the PMGH team to ensure Papua New Guineans not go overseas for heart operations and cancer treatment.
That's why we sort of worked with the hospital and came up with the MOU, committed 15 million kina, and we've been working our way through. So far we have spent 17.5 million or something like that. So that was to refurbish this place, buy the equipment, and also bring the experts in so we can bridge the gap that exists between our own specialist doctors and nurses and technicians and what is expected of us performing at the levels that Singaporeans and Australians and Philippines actually operate at.
When we come back, flag football gain in popularity as body introduces code to Morobe and Simbu. The game of flag football is a modified version of the American gridiron, and it's a non-contact sport that has been in the country since 2020. The inaugural Port Moresby Flag Football League is now into its 4th season, since it was introduced into the country by Western Highlands man Timothy Dom Jim, now PNG's American Football Federation president. Flag football is now a growing sport in Port Moresby since it started, with Morobe and Simbu next in line.
till now. Unify us, make us feel proud. In the streets, our heads are lifting as we lose our inhibition. Celebration, it surrounds us. Every nation, all around us.
Flag Football League is a variant of American football where instead of tackling players to the ground, the defensive team must remove a flag or flag belt from the ball carrier, deflagging at the end of a down, and contact is limited between player. The specific rules of flag football vary widely by the league, though share in common the replication of the rule of traditional American football, with tackling replaced by flag pulling. PNG American Football Federation was established in Port Moresby by Western Highlands man Timothy Dom Jim, who is the president. Jim fell in love with the sport while studying in the Philippines. When he returned to PNG, he decided to trial out the sport by engaging young boys from the Bedili area using the St. Trees Primary School. Next was the establishment of the Port Moresby Flag Football League with 4 registered clubs. From those humble beginnings, today 6 clubs are actively participating in the Port Moresby Flag Football League competition.
Sports when I was studying in the Philippines, so, that was the sports I was playing. And then since I came back home here, I found out that the sport is not here, so I decided to introduce the sports here in Papua New Guinea. And then now, here we are. Flag is the non-contact version, where we have 5 players, and you have to players have to put flags on and being removed, and then downs and so on. It goes like that. But tackle players put the helmet and pads and stuff.
That's what they play in the US?
Yes, yes. So since Papua New Guinea is new to that sport, so I decided to run flag football first. Then maybe gradually we can take our place into tackle or full contact. It's more like a rugby league with tackles, first, second, third, and on. In football, we have 4 downs. First, second, third down, and then the ball goes over to the opponent team. And then they take on the ball and they have to run to the end zone to score a touchdown, which worth around 6 points. Then they have to go for extra points, like 2 points or 1 point, depending on their captain or whoever is the leader of the team.
3 years on, the game has picked up a lot of interest, with momentum building as new teams join the competition. Today, Port Moresby Flag Football League comprises 2 teams from the Hohola suburb, namely Hohola Broncos and Kavera Heads, 3K Kings of Garden Hills, Northeast Falcons of 9 Mile, and 2 Bedili teams, Blue Tongue and Matigoro Dragons.
The sport is new and the interest is really growing here. And now we are also planning to get on women's team on board. So that's why after this tryout, after this tournament, we might be asking girls to come and try out for a while. The interest is really growing here in Moresby, up in Ley, and gradually we are moving up to the islands. We have our development office here. We are planning to go to Morobe Province next month. So I see that the interest is really growing.
The president is also thankful with PNG Sports Federation for allowing Port Moresby Flag Football to host games at the Sir John Guy Stadium over the past 3 to 4 seasons, and TDSL for sponsoring the games.
Here in Port Moresby we have 6 teams. Up in Ley we have 4 teams. They will have the tournament sometimes this year also. And then we are planning to go up to Chimbu and start the program and have some teams up there as well. But that's in the future. Okay. That sport has a future in it. If we are looking at like international tournament, international leagues, they're having their eyes on PNG to get the talent out of PNG. But to have PNG ready for that type of call, we have to train kids here so that they grow with football, and then we market them into the international leagues. PNJFF is an allied member to the International Federation of American Football, IFAF. We are under Asia Oceania region. So we will be participating in the Asia Oceania Flag Football Championship at the end of this year, hopefully around November in Malaysia. So we are looking at selecting the best players from this tournament and have them ready for the national team.
Jim said PNG American Football Federation, being an affiliate to the world body, will be picking a squad to participate in the 2023 International Federation of American Football sanctioned Southeast Asia Flag Football Championship to be held in Malaysia in November. Blue Tongue is a pioneer club captained by Dylan Hebe. Dylan said the team came out of curiosity. They decided to try it out when PNG AFF was using the field at St. Teresa Primary School to run the program between 2019 and 2020. He said it was not easy learning the rules, but they are now starting to master the basics of the game and having a lot of fun.
In 1920, first President Timothy Jim came and introduced it to us. But first, it's difficult, but then after he teaches us the rules and all things like that, we get evolving and we improve. And now we are playing the third season. The last two seasons, the first season we came runner-up, but unfortunately we didn't make it to win the comp.
So who were the champions?
The first season, the Coverage, the champion. And the second season, we came as far as semi-final, but we got knocked out and knocked out by Coverage. And then Coverage and Hola Broncos were knocked out Coverage in the grand final. First rule is no contact. They told us that there is no physical contact. There's the one that we watch in the movie, the physical, but this one is like the sevens. We have sevens rugby and then we have sevens non-contact version. This is the type of non-contact version that they told us that we're gonna put this tag beside us. And then after he told us this, then we start playing. After we start playing, there's some rules that we didn't know. He keep on teaching us until today. Maybe there's some room for us. There's a space for learning more rules, but we just keep playing what we learned from the previous years.
Blue Tongue, being one of the pioneer clubs, have always missed out making the grand final, but over the past two seasons they have made an impression and finally got the Super Bowl in Season 4 this year. Port Moresby Flag Football Season 4 Super Bowl final, sponsored by DTCell, successfully entered in February this year. The two foundation teams, Blue Tongue and Mitigoro Dragons, battled it out for the title. Blue Tongue proved the better side. Dylan is now using his experience to encourage young boys and girls to take up flag football.
There's a lot of sports. You guys have some of your hobbies and things like that to do, but if you want to try something new, like we lived once here, not like we live for forever or something like that. So try something new and at least put some memory, and maybe who knows the future. Maybe this thing can get you somewhere else. You don't know. After this tournament, you're gonna make some selections to go down to Philippines, maybe this year or next year. I'm not too sure, but he'll inform us. So if you wanna fly or make it to the team, you can come and try out. First season where we started the tournament, Badili St. Chris Field.
Over the past week, major sponsor Swaz Cup has continued its commitment and support to PNG American Football Federation with the announcement of $100,000, which is equivalent to 300,000 kina. The big announcement was made recently, very much to the delight of PNG American Football President Timothy Dom Jim. Jim said Swaz Cup was the major financier of PNG American Football Federation since its inception in 2020, leading up to this announcement of an additional major sponsorship commitment for 2023.
And that's been another edition of Scope. Thank you for your company. Good night.